What on earth is the UFC doing right now? This is absolutely ridiculous. If you look on the screen, Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez 2 is verbally agreed for UFC 320. This is embarrassing. What the F is the UFC doing, man? Why is Yair Rodriguez getting a title shot? And guys, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm going to show you what Movsar Evloev tweeted on Twitter, and this is all but confirmed. Alexander Volkanovski, it's 99.9% he's going to be fighting Yair Rodriguez in Guadalajara, Mexico for UFC 320. This is a joke. This is embarrassing, and this proves that if you sit on your ass and you win one fight in the last 2 years against a Bellator reject and you cry about a title shot, that you'll get a title shot. This is a joke. The UFC is so dead set on having a Mexican fighter fight in a main event against Volkanovski that they're willing to take the integrity of the sport and chunk it out the window. Honestly, what are the UFC and the matchmakers doing right now? Fire Sean Shelby, fire McMahon, fire Dana White. These guys are an absolute joke. The matchmakers are terrible. They have no idea what they're doing. I just don't understand. Who on this planet wants to see Volkanovski beat Yair Rodriguez a second time? Who literally cares about this fight? It does little to nothing for Volkanovski's legacy. Nothing. We're talking about a guy that he's already outstruck and he's already taken down and beat the pulp out of on the ground until the ref had to step in. It's embarrassing. Yeah, I cannot stand fighters like Yair Rodriguez who go around winning one fight and then cry about a title shot and say, oh, I deserve a title shot. I beat Pitbull from Bellator, who was 37 years old and out of his prime. And it was an embarrassing performance. And now the UFC is going to sit there and reward crybaby behavior by giving Yair a title shot? Like, what happened to the days of the sport where we had guys going 4, 5, 6, 7, even 12 fight win streaks and still not get a title shot? Now Yair can beat Pitbull, who's a Bellator reject, and get a title shot in 2025? This is embarrassing. The UFC is showing their true colors, that they don't care about the fans anymore. They don't care what the fans want to see. They don't care about what we say. MMA YouTube heavily carries the UFC right now, and it's never been obvious. They're not promoting jack shit. They don't do anything we tell them to do, even though the fans have the best things in interest for the UFC. The UFC right now is in a terrible state. Dana White has one foot out the door. He doesn't care about promoting the UFC whatsoever since he stole his stake. Sean Shelby and McMahon put on the most terrible matchups right now. Like, what are they doing? There's a clear-cut contender right now that should be fighting for the belt, and it's Movsar Evloev. And I'm going to show you what he tweeted in a second. And this is just absolutely embarrassing. Like, Yair fighting for a title, like I said, let me just explain to you why it frustrates me so much. Because we're proving that if you sit there and you whine and bitch like a little girl and cry on the sidelines like Yair Rodriguez does, then you get a title shot. It's blasphemous, dude. He's on a fucking one-fight win streak versus, guess who? Pitbull from Bellator. Meanwhile, Movsar Evloev is 9-0 in the UFC, beating guys like Diego Lopez, beating guys like Arnold Allen and Aljamain Sterling. That's 3 really great fighters he has on his resume. And the UFC want him to win one more fight before he gets a belt. Listen, you guys have heard me on this channel. I've been very critical of Movsar. I'm not a big fan of his fighting style, and I think he doesn't really look that great in his fights. Like, he's good, but like he can't dominate anybody. So I've been very critical of Movsar, and he has no finishes. I get that, but if you're talking about him or Yair, come on, dude. Yair should be like 3 fights away from a title. He's won one fight since he lost to Volkanovski. One fight. He beat who? He beat Pitbull. That's it. He lost to Volkanovski, and he got choked out by Brian Ortega in the rematch. All he's done is beat Pitbull and cry on the sidelines. And they're going to reward him with the title shot? Like, I just can't get behind this. Like, in what world should Yair be fighting for a title in 2025? The UFC is so desperate to have a Mexican fighter fight in a main event of a Mexican card that they're willing to drag the sport through the mud and not give a damn about merit or who deserves it. They don't care about that anymore. It's so clear. Like, why? I don't give a shit about Yair. As a matter of fact, in 2019, when he refused to fight Zabit, I wish they would have cut him from the UFC and kept him cut and not brought him back, because he's been nothing but a little crybaby bitch. And I can't stand Yair. I can't. I don't like the way he looks. I don't like the way he talks. I don't like the way he fights. I can't stand anything about Yair. Call me a hater. I don't care. I am so sick and tired of these fighters like Yair Rodriguez and Justin Gaethje and Ian Gary campaigning for undeserved title shots. What happened to the days of earning it? Arnold Allen, 10-0 in the UFC, didn't get a title shot. He got Max Holloway, right? Tony Ferguson, 12-fight win streak, never got an undisputed title shot. Like, there are so many guys. Bilal Muhammad had to go on a 10-fight unbeaten streak to get a title shot. Leon Edwards had to go on an 11-fight unbeaten streak to get a title shot. It's embarrassing. But guys like Yair are giving him on a silver platter for doing nothing. And why? If you're Alexander Volkanovski, why are you accepting this fight against Yair? Dude, you've already beat him. we only have 1 or 2 Volkanovski fights left, right? Why on the earth would we want to waste one of those fights against Yair Rodriguez, a guy he's already beat, a guy he's already ran through and destroyed, and we're going to make one of his last fights versus Yair again? And it's a dangerous matchup. Yair can get lucky and catch Volk with a head kick. And it's like, yeah, he beat an old Volkanovski, which he would have never be able to touch in his prime. Nobody cares about this fight. If you're a UFC fan and you care about this fight, I would love to know your mindset. Drop it in the comments. If you're Mexican, don't be biased. Let me know why you truly want to see this fight, because I cannot think of a reason to be excited or anyone to care about this fight whatsoever. Let's get on to what Movsar said. Basically, there was some news by Ali Abdelaziz that came out 5 days ago where he confirmed that the UFC has asked Movsar to win one more fight if he wants to get the title shot, right? Which is ridiculous whenever you compare it to what freaking Yair has done. Yair is an absolute joke. But Movsar tweeted, and this is what pretty much confirms that they're doing Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair 2, which it really boils my blood. I'm so pissed they're doing this fight, dude. Like, I know it's not that serious, but guys, you have to understand, I've been following this sport for over 20 years, and to see the sport go into the way it's going and pretty much turn into boxing as it recently has, it's very frustrating that the wrong guys keep getting the title shot. How many times in the last 5 years or 3 years have we seen the title shot go to the wrong person? Or just see guys like Kai Asakura and like Steve Erceg and Dustin Poirier and Colby Covington and now Yair Rodriguez and Justin Gaethje's whining for a title shot. How many of these pussies do absolutely nothing to get a title shot, but they sit and bitch and moan on the sidelines and the UFC reward it? It's embarrassing. But like I said, this is what confirmed that it's happening for me. Movsar Evloev tweeted, at Alexander Volkanovski, thank you, champ, for trying to fight me. So Alexander Volkanovski apparently was campaigning for the fight. I will fight in July, and you will fight in September. Hopefully we both win and meet in December. So Movsar is saying that, pretty much confirming that Volkanovski will be fighting in September. Guess what? The September card is Guadalajara. It's Mexico. Who else are they going to put against Volkanovski in Mexico? It's going to be Yair. He just beat Diego Lopez. It's not going to be Diego in a rematch. That doesn't make sense. It's Yair, dude, and it's a joke. Like, the fact that this fight is happening boils my blood. It makes me so pissed. Fire Sean Shelby. Fire Mick Maynard. Fire Dana White. They're incompetent. They put on the terrible matchups. They literally put on fights nobody wants to see. I just don't understand. Why is Charles Oliveira getting a title shot right now when Arman Sarukian should be the #1 contender? Why is Sean O'Malley getting an immediate rematch versus Merab despite only having 1 title defense? Like, what are we doing, man? Why is John Jones allowed to just hold on to the heavyweight belt? The UFC is in such a shitty state right now, and it's like every time you get up and read a headline on what's the next fight tour, you can't help but roll your eyes or scratch your head at how ridiculous this is. And Movsar also tweeted out, if you are a UFC fighter and believe you're best in the world and you have to fight everything they throw at you, no risk, no reward. See you guys in July. It's on. So Movsar is pretty much confirming he's going to be on that Abu Dhabi card, which is the Robert Whittaker versus Rainier de Ritter. I assume he's going to fight one of 2 fighters, John Silva or Lerone Murphy. He's already kind of beat the other guy, so I don't know who else at the top of the division they would throw him. So I think it might be Lerone Murphy, who's ranked like number 8. And that has decision written all over it. Lerone Murphy versus Movsar literally has decision written all over it. But either way, man, like I said, I'm not the biggest Movsar fan, but you cannot deny that at featherweight right now, there is no one that deserves a title shot more than this guy. He's 9-0 in the company. Yair Rodriguez has had an interim title shot. He's had an undisputed title shot. And guess what? He lost against the guy he's fighting against. So what did, and for the people that are going to come on my comments and defend Yair Rodriguez, what did he do to earn a title shot? Tell me, in the last 2 years, he's lost to Volk, he's lost to Ortega, and then he beat a Bellator reject in Pitbull. So how, besides the fact that it's a Mexican card, which, am I the only one that does not give a shit if it's a UFC fighter that's Mexican in the main event on the Mexican card? I don't care, dude. They did Merab versus Sean O'Malley for UFC Noche, and I didn't have an issue with that. It does not have to be a Mexican fighter in the main event, dude. Stop trying so hard to force a Mexican champion. The UFC wants so bad for the Mexican market for them to have a Mexican champion. They want nothing more than Yair to KO Volkanovski. And let's be real, he has a solid shot because Volk is older now, even though Yair can't hold Volk's jockstrap in his prime. And they want nothing more to have a Mexican champion. Dana White loves Mexico. They're always doing these Noche events, and which is fine. If you want to celebrate Mexican heritage, I have no issue with that. The issue I have is giving these absolute pussy crybabies like Movsar Evloev a title shot. It's ridiculous, and it's everything wrong with the sport right now. The wrong matchups are being made. We don't get the big fights we want to see anymore. We get Alexander Volkanovski versus Yair Rodriguez 2. And as a massive fan of Volk, I'm disappointed that he's even taken this fight. He should put his foot down and say, you know what? I've already beat this guy. It does little to nothing for my legacy. I'm not fighting Yair Rodriguez. I'm just not. Either the UFC is throwing a bag at Volkanovski, or he really why is Volkanovski taking this fight? I just don't get it. It does nothing for his legacy. It's a guy he's already beaten TKO'd. What is Volkanovski going out there and beating Yair Rodriguez? And what if it's closer this time and it looks worse? Then you can say, oh, he barely skated by Yair Rodriguez, a guy he already beat. Not a good win for Volk. I just don't understand from a legacy standpoint, which is why Volkanovski's fighting. I don't think he needs money. He has plenty of that. He's fighting for legacy. If you look at Volk's legacy, what does a fight against Yair a second time, a guy he's already ran through and finished, do for his legacy? Nothing. Movsar does a lot for Volk's legacy. He's undefeated. He's a Russian boogeyman. You know, it's always so hard to beat these undefeated Russian fighters, and it's been proven time and time again with guys like Ankalaev on long win streaks, guys like Islam. Umar was beat by Marab, but he barely won. It was a good fight, man. It's so hard. Khamzat Chimaev's undefeated. These Russian undefeated guys, if you can get a win over them, it's a great thing, man, because they're so hard to beat because they're so damn good. And Volkanovski had a chance with a favorable matchup against a guy like Movsar Evloev, who doesn't really have knockout power and is not a guy, I think, that can hold Volkanovski down. Volkanovski's shown great takedown defense against Islam, and he showed that he can get up, and Volkanovski's nearly impossible to submit, and I think he would piece up Movsar on the feet. But instead, they give it to Yair. I don't know. I saw this. I saw this like 4 or 5 days ago, the rumor that they might give it to Yair, and I was hoping that it was just like a fake rumor. But now that Movsar's tweeted that you fight in September, and hopefully we can meet in December, it's pretty much confirmed. So the UFC proves once again that they cannot do anything right. And once again, we get a boxing kind of fight where the guy who deserves the title shot doesn't get it, but they give it to another guy. I don't know, man. I just don't understand. I thought the whole point of Volkanovski coming back and winning the belt was to fight for legacy, not to fight and beat guys he's already beat. Like, I just don't get it. Like, what are we going to do next? Are we going to do Volkanovski versus Max Holloway 4 if he beats Dustin Poirier? Is that the next fight? Beat another guy he's already beat 3 times? Like, I don't understand. Like, why at this stage in his career, unless he's fighting a guy he lost to, Islam or Topuria, Volkanovski should not be doing rematches. He should be fighting new blood. That's what's going to notch your legacy up. Not fighting a guy like Yair that you've already smoked. I don't know, man. I know I'm waffling, I'm yapping, I'm pissed, and I'm sure I'm going to get called a crybaby in the comments. But let me know what you guys think about this news. Are you as disappointed and aggravated as me? And yeah, man, I think that Dana White, Sean Shelby, and Mick Maynard just need to get out the UFC. They don't care anymore. They don't put on the best fights anymore. Dana White does not give a crap about the UFC anymore. It's never been more clear. He does zero promoting. He won't even say Tom Aspinall's name. He just sits there glazing John Jones, allowing him to drag his name through the mud. And I'm not going to blame this all on Dana White. Obviously, he doesn't make every single decision, but if you're Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard in these matchups, you should be like, these matchmakers lately have been an absolute garbage can. I just don't understand it. But nonetheless, yeah, I just wanted to come out and rage about this news that came out in recent times after I saw Movsar's tweet. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you as pissed off as I am? Drop a comment below. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed me yapping it up for a good 13 minutes. Thank you guys. I'm out. Peace.